My name's Justin. I'm a football marketing specialist here at LoveAdmin, and today on the call we have Harry Lambert from OTB Coaching. Founder and lead coach, Harry brings extensive experience in developing young footballers both on and off the pitch. His expertise focuses on not only technical skills, but crucial mindset and confidence building, ensuring holistic approach to player development. Get ready to gain invaluable insights into running a thriving football academy. Harry, welcome. Thank you very much for taking time out of your no doubt busy schedule, because it's the start of the school holidays at the moment, isn't it? So I'm sure you've got plenty of planning and session delivering to do. So we really do appreciate your time. We'll get through this as quickly as it can, but I think it's great for those on the call to hear your experiences of developing an academy. So welcome. How are you? All right?
Yeah, I'm all right, thank you. Good afternoon. Thanks for having me. I'm keeping well. Like you said, lots of planning going on, lots of activities coming up over the summer holidays. So yeah, we've got lots to get through over the next couple of months.
And just before we kick off, I suppose weather kind of plays into your hands as well, doesn't it? We've seen the last couple of weeks of quite extreme hot weather, which brings its own challenges, doesn't it, to keep kids hydrated and all that kind of stuff. And whilst driving back from an event yesterday, we drove through an absolute rainstorm. So it's typical of the British weather. You can never ever have a good enough plan to cover everything, I suppose, can you? So
No, we tend to plan for those as well. So on all of our session plans, there will be things that you can do to turn it up. If it's a cold evening or a winter's evening, we've got adaptations on our session plans that help coaches turn it up if it's cold, or similarly, if it's a boiling hot day and we need to dial it down a little bit for our players, then there are things on our session plans to cater for those sweltering. I mean, like last weekend was, well, not
oh,
this one. This one was atrocious, but the one before that
yeah.
was absolute scorcher. So the players struggle to get through that at the usual tempo we would ask them to. So yeah, we've always got things up our sleeves to play for those.
Plenty of water breaks, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, first topic we'd like to get into is holiday camps. Obviously, right time of the year with the school holidays just about to start across England.
Yeah.
They're a fantastic revenue stream. What's your experience been like running these? Do you find there's certain times of the year that are more successful than others? Is it the summer holidays that tend to be more successful, or the winter months? What's your experience from organising these?
Um, Naturally, we tend to do well on the half terms. So the summer holidays can be a hit and miss sometimes, depending on players, and it can just be the look of the draw in terms of when they're available and have you booked the week where the majority of your customers are on holiday. So it can be hit and miss. But then again, over the years, I've learned not to have those sorts of ideas where you think, oh, it's going to be quiet this February because the weather's really bad. And then shockingly, you're fully booked. It's a rainy couple of days on our 2 day camp, yet it's fully booked and the kids are there dialed in, ready to go. So you feel as though your camps during the warmer weathers are going to be much better. But actually, I've learnt my lesson to not try and predict what's going on. And, it comes as sometimes it's a surprise.
Yeah. No, that's it, isn't it? Yeah, the best laid plans and all that. Sometimes it just one or two little things can throw everything off, doesn't it? So beyond the financial aspect, obviously, what other benefits do holiday camps bring to your academy and the children who attend?
So our camps are openly advertised as not your usual school holiday clubs. So our camps aren't the type where kids can come along and get dropped off by parents, like wraparound care and that sort of thing. We try and steer away from that market. Our market is more of a training camp where the players want to be there. They're dialed in from the moment they arrive to the moment they leave. We try and keep them engaged throughout.
Mm.
We found that as a company, delivering it for the coaches is much easier. We've done both. We used to have fun days. So they were openly advertised as holiday clubs, fun days. We used to get brothers and sisters come down and all different age groups. And sometimes brother or sister who's not really interested in football would come down and use the time to, cater for their schedule whilst parents are working. And we've found that the easier delivery is to try and get the players who want to be there. So we openly advertise and sort of talk about how our camps are dialed in. They're engaged from the moment they arrive. We're putting our players in the growth zone. It's not one of those relaxing penalty shootout, crossbar challenge, summer holiday camps. They're there to work. So we found that when we advertise that way, we get players who actually want to be there, and it makes everybody's experience better, including the coaches. So the coaches are obviously dealing with players who want to be there, and they're much easier to deal with. And then similarly, the players as well. They've all got teams that players who are trying to work hard and dial in and get better in a similar situation. We try and get like-minded people together on our camps.
There's that pre-engagement of the players, isn't it? The players who want to be there rather than just sort of turning up, just almost like not like a babysitting type thing, isn't it?
That's
They're
it, yeah.
already engaged, and then you know they're going to be listening to the coaches and then applying those drills and practices effectively. That's what you're saying, isn't it?
Yeah, it's one of the things that I learned over the last couple of years within business is it's okay to not appeal to everybody.
Yeah.
We wanted to at the start, we didn't want to turn anybody away. If we had an elite level player come and, oh yeah, come down to our camps. Our camps are great. You'll have loads of football time, and they would come along and feel like, oh, this isn't what I wanted. And similarly the other way. So we've got to comfortable with ourselves now where we're happy to say, look, this is what we do. This is who we advertise to and who we cater for. If you don't fall in with these brackets, then, our camps probably aren't the best suit for you. And we're okay and comfortable to say that with players now.
That's a really interesting point, actually. I suppose from a business perspective, from a revenue perspective, that's quite a daunting challenge, isn't it? Getting that mix right
Yeah.
of saying, well, I don't want to turn anyone away, obviously, because it's money, but
Yeah.
actually, will that child benefit from coming to our camps, or is it just going to be slightly too much? So I suppose to be able to make that distinction is allowing that child and that parent, to be fair, to be able to say, like, actually, we don't think you're going to get any benefit from being here.
Yeah.
I'm not just going to take your money just for the sake of it.
Yeah, I mean, I had a conversation with a parent who lives in our area but has a nephew from Jordan. And he contacted me and he plays internationally for Jordan. So he plays internationally for Jordan. He's in the the age group, I think he was about 14. And he reached out saying, I'd love some one-to-ones. And my eyes were thinking, I'd love to play with this international player. I want to get on the pitch with him. It's going to be amazing. We'll be able to get some great videos and great content. And it was quite a big deal for me to turn around and say, actually, this isn't a right fit for what we do as a business. And, then to turn around and say no to those sorts of players is sometimes quite difficult, especially when you've got your business mind on and you're looking to try and hit targets and you might be a few away from target and somebody reaches out, you think, oh, should we just chuck them in there? But you have to be strong-willed to stick by what you do and sometimes not hit target when you've got potential customers there.
I think that's an incredible point, is that yes, it's easy for you just to say that, take them in, but then you have that philosophy, you have that set criteria, and
Yeah.
if it doesn't fit, it doesn't matter which way it goes, either that one way or the other, that's who we are. And I think that's a really, really good point for those listening, of having identifying your identity, making sure that you're catering to what you want. So that's a really interesting point, actually. So yeah, I'm glad that you brought that up. So obviously you've clearly had success in advertising your camps. What are some of the most effective strategies for reaching parents and for generating sign-ups?
So it's changed really. We used to do a lot of leafleting within schools. So we have a good relationship with all the local schools because we use secondary schools as our venue. They have feeder schools, so we go around to those, and we've always had a good relationship with them. So we did a lot of leafleting, whereas lots of schools now are turning paperless. And whilst we still send in a mini advert for them to put onto their parent communication boards or their newsletters, they're just not as effective as leaflets. Whereas, but schools aren't giving them out anymore. So we've had to recently change and come up with some different ideas and different tactics to get these guys engaged and get them ringing up. Because what we found is a lot of our camps were the same recurring customers all the time. So they're either camp players who come to all of our camps. So whenever we put a camp on, we can guarantee they're going to be there, or our weekly clients. So we have memberships where we coach players weekly, and obviously they're a great reach for us. We just send a WhatsApp or an email through LoveAdmin to our parents, and that gets all those guys on board. But we found that over the years, we need to continue to generate new players coming in, and we've had to come up with some different ways to getting them on board. One of them is meta ads, so social media advertising. It's definitely worth educating yourself as a business owner on how to make those work, because it is very easy to fall down a rabbit hole, fall down a pit, throw money away. I've done it myself. You think, oh, I've just have a little quick read up, watch this YouTube video. Okay, that's great. I can get that done now. And they don't perform. And then after one quick go, you're thinking, right, I've just wasted 50 quid or 100 quid advertising and didn't get anything back off it. So you sort of strike that when you think, oh, I don't know what I'm doing. But recently I've educated myself and signed up to a mentorship program about that. And it's absolutely fantastic. If you can dial in and get the social media ads, get into the right people at the right time in the right way, it's a great way to attract people.
Sure. So in terms of the return on investment in those kind of ads, was that pretty high then, is it?
Yeah, we do at least an ROI of three. So whatever we spend, we 3x what we put in. That's a minimum for us. If something is below 3x, then there's something wrong with the system. So you're either your adverts aren't right, or your text you're putting on there isn't right. You're not marketing to the right people, or you haven't got the right campaign set up. So if it's any less than three, then something's going wrong. So it's good to track all the data as well. So have a look at how many conversations you've done, how many of those people signed up, how many didn't sign up, and you can sort of find the problem. If you've got 100 people showing interest, but you're only signing two people up, the problem isn't with your adverts, it's more with the process after the adverts. So it might be your CRM or your communications with them, or you can, if you keep track of all the data, then you'll be able to find where the pitfall is and then fix it.
Really interesting. Yeah. So as I say, data is king, isn't it? So these kinds of things are, once you start looking into the numbers and delving right in, it's quite obvious where it potentially
Yeah,
may fall over. But as you say, the modern way is social media. Long gone are the days with the old book bags and things like
yeah.
that, with leaflets and all that kind of stuff in. So you've had to reinvent that kind of process, haven't you? So in terms of moving to Meta, which is obviously Facebook and Instagram and things,
Yeah.
um, you are getting in right at the front of the right people with that really specific targeting. So yeah, really good tip on that. Thank you for sharing that. I think that's certainly going to help people when they're thinking about doing the same kind of thing. So
It's
um,
it's definitely worth the education to educate yourself and go through that process of learning actually the best ways to do it from
yeah,
professionals, because you just guess, you're just a guessing, you're just trying to play there, and you go to somebody who knows what they're doing, and then when they let you know, it is an absolute game changer.
yeah, that's very true, isn't it? And there's plenty of resources out there, as you say, YouTube and all that kind of stuff. But it's I suppose it's having the time to do that as well, I suppose, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. Well, we've recently put processes into place to be able to do that. That I would never have been able to go through all this process of learning and educating myself, running the business the way we used to.
Yeah,
Uh, I've really tried hard to work on the business, not in the business.
yeah.
And once I got to that point, it was really, really key to freeing up my time to be able to do those sorts of things.
So in terms of like, say you're planning, do you work like 3 months ahead? So you've got like your summer holiday schedules all done. Are you now thinking about what's going to happen in October half term already, or are you not quite in that point yet? Or
So we have a annual meeting, so we get everything planned and booked in. So we reach out to all of our venues at the start of the year and say, we want this date, this date, this date, all throughout the whole year. So everything's booked in, it's all in the calendar. Then it helps the team. So we've got a team calendar, and it helps the team navigate their holidays and when to avoid certain busy areas for us, whether we're running a football experience, which is another one of our advertising methods. So we do the meta stuff as our online presence, but we like to do physical marketing as well. So we do our experience days. So all that's booked out in the calendar. Our summer camps are all planned. So in terms of the content that we're going to deliver, all the coaches know the session plans. They're all pre-planned ahead of time. So we're ready to deliver those. We are now looking towards targets that we're trying to hit towards the end of the year. So we've got a few targets that we want to hit, and we're trying to put things into place to see if we can reach those targets.
That planning and preparation then is the key, isn't it?
Yeah, trying to stay one step ahead, or at least a couple of steps ahead. I find the business stays very stagnant when you only focus on what's happening in front of you. So if I was only looking at my summer camps now, my
Yeah.
summer camps would do really well. They would get booked up, but then my weekly sessions would take a hit because I've spent the last 3, 4 weeks on my camps, and then everything. If you just work in linear, then there's things down the line that you aren't hitting that need to be hitting constantly throughout. So we try and keep our finger on the pulse with all of the aspects of the business instead of linear approach.
Yeah, no, that's good. Everyone knows where they are then, don't they, as well? So
Yeah.
got a good viewpoint of the whole of the year rather than just what's come up in the next sort of 6 to 8 weeks, for example. So
Yeah.
um great answers. I think some good feedback and useful stuff that can be taken away there. So thank you for sharing that. That's really, really good. Moving over to one of the other things that the company does, the birthday parties.
Yeah.
Um, so football themed birthday parties might seem quite niche. I can understand the demand for them as well, but how did you identify that there was an opportunity with those, and what was involved in setting up the party packages? How did you come up with the different levels that you offer?
Yeah. So we identified it because people come to us and say, "Oh, do you do birthday parties?"
Yeah.
So it wasn't something we had on the radar at the start. Until people start asking, and you think, okay, I'll do that one, and then I'll do yours, and then you start thinking, actually, this could be a segment of the business that can help us. So we tend to view our birthday parties as a marketing strategy now. So once you've done all the outgoings and um, paid for the venue and paid for the coach who's delivering it, whilst we do make a little bit of money, which is great, it's a little bit of a kick for us. It's one of the smaller sections of our business. We find that at a birthday party, there are up to 30 children potentially interested in football who I haven't had to pay to get in front of. So I've not had to do meta ads. I've not had to put on an event for them. Sorry, people are getting them in front of me for me. So they're sort of doing the hard work for me. So we then used our birthday parties as a bit of a platform to then market to them further in terms of what we do on a weekly basis and camps.
Cool. So it almost like a loss leader. I mean, obviously you'll make money, but as you
Yeah,
say, rather than paying whatever the click ad is, click rate is on the Meta from Meta ad, it's like, well,
yeah,
it's a demand. We'll deliver the session. They clearly want to come here because they've been recommended to us. But then, as you say, you've got those children in front of you to then go, have you enjoyed it? Here we do
yeah.
weekly sessions and stuff. So would you sort of like hand out leaflets at the end of the sessions, or?
So we do two things. We take a register at the start, so everybody has to register, and as they come, they put their mobile number down, and then we also give out a within the party bags that they send out at the end, we put in a 2 free sessions to our weekly sessions. So then they all get all the information. So if we're delivering, we only deliver our parties. This was another thing that was quite a big game changer for us. We only deliver the parties at our current venue. So we used to go here, there, and everywhere delivering parties wherever people wanted them. But because we're using it as a marketing tool, we're delivering parties at venues where we don't have a client reach to them, so they're not our potential customers. So now we deliver at the venue we use, so we know that the people are within traveling distance to come along. So they get all the information to that course. So if it's our Nottingham course, we will send out all the information in that voucher. It says, here's the sessions we offer. This is the time that they're on. We hand feed everything to them, days, times, everything. Here's the booking link. And they all get a voucher at the end. And then we reach out to them with permission on the register. It says that they can tick boxes if they don't want to receive it. But we then reach out and say, hope you enjoyed the party. It was great to have you there. If you want to use your voucher, then please please get in touch and we'd love to have you on board. So we mark it in that way.
Very smart to continue that potential revenue. So sort of two questions from that then have just come to mind is these birthday parties, obviously is a good showcase for your academy's coaching style and values. So is that reinforced in the sessions that you deliver, or is it literally just like, right, go and play a game? And then the second part of that question is what's the conversion rate like from a birthday party into paying members to be of your academy? What would you say that would be?
Okay, so the first one would be second one. Let's start with the second one. It depends on the party. So in terms of conversion rate, it depends on what the birth, it depends on the amount of people there. And sometimes we get loads of beginners. So it might be a 6-year-old who the birthday boy loves football and he's invited all of his friends, and maybe 10% of those like football and the rest are there just because they're good friends in the class. So what you find is if they're inviting their class, you'll get the whole class there, and not a lot of them are interested in football, and you're there just to deliver because parties are a bit of a social event. Everybody in the class gets invited. Those ones are less profitable on the conversion rates. But when we get one of our customers who come along who aren't inviting the class, they're inviting their football team members, they're inviting their Sunday league, their Saturday teammates, then they become better because they are all very interested. We deliver, like you say, a great party. So our parties are a bit like a mini coaching session. They are fun games, but they're well structured. They do get little bits of coaching points in there. It is a showcase on what we do as coaches. I would deliver a party in a very similar way that I would deliver one of my development sessions, albeit some of the games are a bit more fun and a bit more relaxed. It is a good showcase. A lot of the parents, come up afterwards and say, that was great the way you handled the children. That was amazing. Because I've got a 5-year-old and I take him to birthday parties and it's absolute carnage. There's loads of free for all. Everybody's going everywhere. Lots of parties are free for all. There's not many structured parties where somebody's leading it. We go to a lot of soft plays and farms and that sort of thing where it's very free for all and you can do what you want. Whereas ours is very structured, and a lot of the parents commend us on how well we handled 30 kids. For me, that's bread and butter. I find that very easy to look after 15, 30 children in a session. But they're very impressed with it, and then they get all the information to follow up.
Very interesting. I suppose, like you say, it's that showcase. Once they're there, the tip about you saying about actually being at the venues that you actually do your other sessions at, they're used to the area, they're used to the facility, they know where they're going, all that kind of stuff. And rather than just appearing at various different places because that's where they want you, I think that's a really good mix of how you've put all that well together. And obviously it's clearly been a success for you. I understand the reason from, say, the 6-year-olds, because you say they invite their classmates, but I suppose when they get to 9, 10, they're already in football. They'll invite their players, and then that's where the conversion rate may go on. So the key answer to that question is just depending on how old the child is.
Yeah, it's not always age; it's more interest, because we get 5 and 6-year-olds who are heavily involved in football, and they invite all their football friends. Some of them have not two parties, but they have a football party where they invite all of their football friends, and then they have one where they invite all their class friends, and that might be something else. Yeah, it's not always age dependent. It's more interests, and you can sort of gauge that quite early on. So we do a lot of parties for our current members, and I know when they book with me, I can tell what type of party it's going to be already. I know if it's going to be a party with lots of classmates or if it's going to be a party with lots of footballers in there. I can tell that quite early on before we've even got to the party stage.
Yeah, no, I suppose, and it just comes with experience, doesn't it?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, we know them very well. We see them week in, week out.
Yeah, no, that's cool. That's there's some good tips there as well. Thank you. So just moving on to one-to-one training. Many on this call or listening to this call may already do one-to-one training sessions or are
Yeah.
thinking about doing them. Your company used to do them. What was the reason that you stopped doing them?
So a couple of reasons. The main reason we stopped doing it is because of our venue costs. We have to, you know, we use a 3G pitch, which, as we all know, are really expensive.
Yeah.
And then for me to rent a 3G pitch and pay a coach, the running cost of a one-to-one session is quite high. So I could charge people enough to make money for the business, but it just doesn't feel right charging people £60 for a one-to-one 45-minute session. The value is there. We will deliver a great one-to-one session. It's absolutely amazing. You know, they get a lot of value from it. And I know there are people who are willing to pay it because they've said, "Oh, can I just do a one-to-one session?" But it just didn't sit well with me charging those really high rates when when we don't need to. We went to a small group session, which we have a maximum of 4 players. So that does a couple of things. It gives us 3 extra players to then have in our eco bubble. So it's
Mm,
3 extra players to advertise camps to. It's 3 extra players to upsell or downsell some of our other products. The session vibe is actually a bit better as well. So sometimes if you've got a one-to-one and somebody's away, we we've got a coach there not doing anything. Whereas if we've got a 4-to-1 class and somebody's away, then the coach is still working on the 3-to-1 and they're still going.
mm.
So a couple of the reasons why we moved over to a small group session instead of a one-to-one. Yeah, that it just suits the business better in terms of outgoings and costs and having extra people in the bubble as well.
Yeah, that makes sense. Totally. I mean, as you say, kids, well, unfortunately, they'll get ill or they get stuck in traffic and all that kind of thing. So, yeah, you're still having to pay for that person and pay for that slot on the 3G, which, as you said, is very expensive. So when you move from the sort of one-to-one sort of strategy to small 4-to-1 sessions, did
Yeah.
you get any negative feedback from that? Did anyone say, "Oh, I'm not too happy with that," or was everyone on board with it?
There's another couple of benefits when you've got extra players. You can do additional things in the session. So small sided domination. You can do a one-to-one. You can do sorry a 1v1. You can do 2v2s. You can do overloads. You can do 3v1s or two. There's loads of additional options that are going to help those players. So they all loved having the extra environment and the extra energy in the session.
Mm,
We're quite conscious of the way we get our ball rolling time and the sessions planned. I will oversee all the sessions that we deliver, and I'll always look at, yes, we've got 4-to-1, but how can we make this feel like a one-to-one? How can we make sure every player is playing in every second while still getting that small group vibe, but then the one-to-one as well? So is that player in a queue of 4? We're doing a shooting drill, and they're stood waiting for the other 3 to have a go. We try and eliminate that as much as possible and try and get them feeding or try and get them involved in the drill as well. We're quite conscious of the way we run our small group sessions, to make sure that it still sort of feels like a one-to-one as well.
yeah. So ultimately, the player benefits, or the
Yeah,
players benefit, don't they? As you say, from that, rather than just having that one-to-one with a coach, it's
yeah,
playing with someone with the same age range or the ability levels and things. So,
yeah.
um, so actually, everything the way you've explained it actually would make sense, and you can see why, as a business, you decided to take it that way.
Uh,
Um,
just one of the other reasons is for a one-to-one, we found that not many people wanted a membership because a one-to-one would be quite expensive. A monthly membership is turns out to be quite expensive. So if they're paying, I don't know, let's say we were going to charge £30 for a one-to-one, which we
yeah,
wouldn't be able to do after I've paid the coach and the venue costs. We wouldn't be able to do that. So let's just say £30. But to turn that into a monthly cost for somebody, you're looking at £140 a month to cover whether it's a 4-week or a 5-week month. You'd have to put £140 a month. because people don't want to do that, then they want ad hoc sessions for a one-to-one. And you find that because they're ad hoc, there's no commitment level from them. So they're saying, oh, it's raining this week, we're not going to come, or we're on holiday this week. So you end up doing a lot of scrambling around for your bookings, putting on social media, oh, we've got a space available at 5 o'clock on Tuesday, or we've had a cancellation on a Friday. And for me, it's quite stressful to do that, to try and fill slots up. But I also don't think it looks very good as a business where you're constantly scrambling around on social media trying to fill up your slots because you've had cancellations. We found that because the small groups are more manageable in terms of cost for the customer, we charge £58 for a small group a month. So which is much more reasonable. We can get people signed up on memberships. So, we can get people committing to those slots. And if they cancel, they've still got their membership. So, we're not losing out as a business on people's, wanting to cancel, or they've got a birthday party coming up, or they can't come this evening because they're on holiday. To protect the business, we need to try and get as many people in memberships as possible. And the small groups was a great way to do that.
So in many ways, in every way, everyone wins: parents, yourself, and the player.
Yeah, yeah, the only downside is they don't quite get that one-to-one where it's super dialed in and focused to them. But the way we do run our small groups, we try and make it that way. So we try and get them as close to a one-to-one as possible. They have to give and take a little bit because they're not paying for a one-to-one session anymore. It's a lot
Of course.
cheaper.
Yeah.
So, they can't expect that one-to-one feedback when they're in a small group, but we still try and give it as much as possible.
I think it's a fantastic way of delivering, as you say, as close to that one-to-one as you can.
Yeah.
And the player benefits from extra players on the pitch, and the business benefits where you're not having to fork out that pitch hire costs and stuff. So it's
Yeah.
it's a very, very smart thing to do. So yeah, interesting, very interesting on that topic. Moving on to school partnerships. Obviously, school partnerships offer a huge opportunity for outreach, as we discussed just a minute ago with the leaflets in the bags and stuff.
Yeah.
How did you initiate your first school partnership, and what brought you to the decision to not continue those partnerships?
So randomly, we stumbled across ours. It wasn't something we were looking for as a business.
Mhm.
We went into a school delivering our leaflets, like I said. So this was 12 years ago. So 12 years ago, we're going around the schools delivering the leaflets, and the receptionist asked me and said, do you do after school clubs? And in my head, I'm thinking, we don't deliver after school clubs. We do weekly sessions, but my business, I'm thinking, yeah, we could do after school clubs for you, no problem. We're in the area anyway. So we start at 5 o'clock. We can easily get in an after school session for you and then go and deliver our weekly sessions at our local venue. So we started to do that, and we just jumped in. They said, oh, we've got a provider in at the moment. It was I don't know whether I should say I won't say the name, but there was a provider in at the time, and I just said, well, what are they charging you? And they said, oh, 50 quid. I said, well, I'll do it for you for £45. Then she said, great, start next week. And I was like, okay. So
Yeah.
then we started to put everything into position to make sure we were ready for that, to make sure we could put on an after school club in a school environment. Everything is the same anyway. We've all got the DBS checks, the first aid, the qualifications we needed. It was just a different environment. So we started delivering that, and then it just grew from there. So we picked up day work. So we were doing PPA cover for that school, and for the next 10 years, we started off doing sessions for them during the daytime, delivering their PE sessions. They asked if we could then do twice a week, so we were in twice a week. The problem with the schoolwork was the way the business was running. I was in there every session, delivering every club, every after school club, every weekend club, every party. I was doing all the marketing. So it was very driven in terms of running the business myself. So I was trading my time for money, and it made it very difficult to grow the business whilst I was in school 2, 3 times a week and then going into the evening as well. A couple of things stopped it. So family started. My young one came along, and I was finding that I didn't have any family time. So he was obviously not at school yet because he was young. So I was in school during the daytime, and then in the evening I was coaching. So I made the conscious decision to step out of the schools so I could have family time. And then the other reason was the business had become very stagnant in terms of growth because I wasn't able to drive the business because I was working every hour just delivering the fundamentals of the business. I wasn't able to grow and do the additional things that I can now. So that was one of the reasons that we ended up stopping. So I said, look, and actually, when I made the decision to stop, we lost, for example, £2,000 a week, but I ended up gaining £2,000 a week because I could run the business and I ended up getting the growth that we needed and that we were planned to do. I ended up putting that revenue back into the business in a different way. So very quickly, we got that back on. Looking at it now, where I'm not coaching every day and we have more of a team and we've got coaches who are coaching in the evening but not during the daytime, that is something that we could possibly put back into place now. It's not something that we've got on the cards at the moment, but it's something that we could very easily jump back into to get that going again.
I suppose it's realizing where you're at a saturation point and then thinking, right, what do I need to just sort of calm down on and stop to then push us on to the next level? As you say, it stagnated a little bit. It's
Yeah,
kind of like, right, how do we push on again? Because that's what every business needs to do, isn't it? Keep pushing on, keep
yeah,
bringing in the revenue, etc., etc. So that was the thing that you chose to just step away from. Obviously, family time is very important as well, and everyone has to have that kind of in their life as well. So it's interesting that how it came about just as a chance conversation at a school
yeah.
and how that things. But again, it then opens the door to you. They know you. They have a relationship with you, and all that kind of thing. So it's about getting them to know you as well, I suppose. Um, so just touching on the weekly sessions that you offer, you've mentioned it a couple of times now. Could you just give us an insight into how these sessions benefit the players and the parents? Are they like an hour long every week, or how does that work?
So our weekly memberships are either our small group sessions, which are 45 minutes, or we do our development sessions, which are an hour long. The development sessions is your usual football group sizes up to 16. There's a lead coach and an assistant coach. There's key development topics each week. We work on attacking the goal to score or possession play throughout the session, and then each session finishes with small-sided games. It's the bread and butter of our business. It's where our majority of our income comes from, offering those evening sessions, which supplement players' development. So we're not a team, we're not affiliated to any team. This is a supplement session which complements what they do, either whether they play for a team or they don't. The sessions are suited for the mass audience in terms of our development classes, and we have different venues where we deliver them out throughout the week.
Hmm, interesting. Okay, so as you say, that's the bread and butter. That's the thing that gets them, I suppose, then involved with other stuff that you do. Maybe might be the birthday parties. They
Yeah,
recognise that, but that's the way you get everybody in and exposing them to
yeah,
everything you do. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, there's so much. Our capacity for the weekly sessions is so much bigger. We have two development classes at the same time every hour, so up to 30 kids per hour, and we do 3 hours. So, we can have 100 kids in an evening every day of the week. So the net for the amount of people we can get into the business is so much bigger.
Yeah.
It's more of our entry level offer to what we do. And then, the small groups is a step up, and then the camps are an add-on, and that sort of thing. So the weekly development sessions is where we feel a lot of people want to at least get started with us.
Amazing. That's so yeah, really good mix. That's a brilliant way of getting people in, and as you say, then exposing them to the rest of the things that you do. So obviously you're a busy guy. You've got a team that's working to planning all these sessions and booking all these facilities and all that kind of stuff. Um, Obviously moving something to a paperless system like LoveAdmin, it seems like a no-brainer from the efficiency point of view, allowing you to do the things you do best in terms of the coaching. What was the turning point for you to sort of make this switch and go that sort of fully automated way? And what tangible benefits have you seen?
So it started it started very manual. We had paper paper registers that I was printing every day. So I'd print a register off and the coach would get that and everybody would get their own registers. Then I would take that home and upload that register to where it needs to be. It was only on Excel, so obviously that doesn't have any monetary things coming into it. We had a different system to collect money. We were collecting cash and checks at one point. We were doing bank transfers. We were doing PayPal. We were doing Stripe payments. We were just trying to suit everybody else. I was paying the price for it. So I was trying to accommodate everybody. If somebody said to me, "Can I pay you this way?" I'd be like, "Yeah, let's work out a way where you can pay me that way, and I will make that work." And I just couldn't keep up because I was working in a school. I was trying to do a family. I was working every evening. I was getting all the admin done on my lunch break in between sessions. If I'd arrived at a session half an hour early, I'd quickly try and catch a few payments that came through here and there. It was just really difficult. I think I had at one point 10 systems, MailChimp, Stripe, all these different systems. I'm quite technical. The Love Admin team always say that I'm trying to push the boundaries of Love Admin and really use it to its max. So I'm quite technical. I'm quite adventurous in what I can do with the system. So I was actually making all these systems talk to each other. They would book onto the website. It would do an email to MailChimp. If they made a payment, it was sort of working, but it was very, very hard work for me, and nobody else in the business could do it. So
Yeah.
only I knew how to run the system that I had created. And as the business grew and we started taking team members on, there was no chance. So I couldn't even take a holiday. If I did take a holiday, it would create weeks worth of work afterwards. Everybody had written down, "Oh, he's paid this, he's paid this." So in the end, I was quite proud of the system I created and I was in quite deep. I was thinking, this is a monster system. I've done it really well. But, moving over to Love Admin, it just does all those systems in one place. And now everybody in the business can do it. And it means the efficiency of the business is unbelievable. And it was just a no-brainer for me to get to that point. The business couldn't grow anymore the way I was running it. It was just, and we were doing 300 kids a week. So I was managing 300 payments, 300 parents,
Wow.
sometimes two parents. And now we're over 500 players a week. It's easy. Like it's literally very easy. Tonight we've had to relocate our venue. So with Love Admin, it's just bang, bang, bang. Everybody knows about it. It's just great. So Love Admin for us was a no-brainer.
Awesome. Okay. And yeah, that initial process of setting up all those different things, you know what you want, but then to find that tool that has everything in it. And also, like from a business continuity thing, if you're the only one who's able to use those systems and have that process,
Yeah.
it kind of exposes you to like, well, God forbid anything happened to yourself, what would then happen? But
Yeah.
I suppose with a all-in-one platform, then everyone's got training and access to it. They can go ahead and do all those things that you just mentioned. So I think from that, going over to sort of Love Admin, going paperless, how has that impacted the parent communication and the overall member experience at your academy? A one sort of login for your payments and all that kind of thing. How have they come back to you with feedback on that kind of thing?
Yeah. So to be honest, they they don't really know Love Admin exists because it's so good. Once somebody signs up, there's nothing else left for them to do. I never have to chase a payment from them. As long as they've got their direct debit in place, in terms of the parent, they don't really see anything. They sign up through the system. Once they're booked into the system, that's it. There's no more for them to do. They don't need to rebook their child. It's just reoccurring. They get emails from me, and then it's just a click button. And because all the child's details are already stored on there, it's all up to date. I used to be, oh, he's 6 years old, but 3 years down the line, he's not 6 years old anymore. He's 9 years old, and my database was out of date because of the sign in when he signed in and signed up. It's not keeping it all up to date, whereas the Love Admin system's got all these the systems and the reporting and all the details. Like you say, data was king. The data we have for everybody now is always up to date. Um, I find it really easy. You know, lots of parents sign up with us, and because it's their first port of call, so they've inquired, they've come along for a free trial, then they jump onto the system. They're then quite surprised. They say, right, so now what? And I'm literally like, nothing. That's it. That's all you need to do. Just let me know when you don't want to play anymore, and we'll sort it for you from there. There's literally nothing for you to do.
Do you save those hours and hours of time of doing admin and stuff, able to then concentrate on developing your coaches and also developing the coaching plans, finding new sites for your expansion and all that kind of stuff. So it's allowed you to focus on growing the business rather than being swamped in the admin side of it, hasn't it? So
I wouldn't have been able to grow the business and get to the point we're at now without the LoveAdmin system because, you know, whilst you just burn out, you just run into the ground. There were so many times as I was before LoveAdmin, I'm the type of person it's like, it's fine, I'll get it done. Like, no worries, I'll get
yeah,
that done. And you do burn out and you're just so heavily reliant on yourself. You are the business. So I was on the ball. I was OTB coaching, and without me, there wasn't a business. But now I could easily go on holiday for a month and the business would still run. Everybody would be able to access everything. All the coaches have got access to the systems. The parents have access to booking here and booking there. We can schedule emails out. All of our advertising is all scheduled. So we've got emails going out about our August camp, and that will happen without me. Um, it's just a lifesaver and a game changer. Yeah, I can't. The other thing that LoveAdmin did is it opens up other ideas. So there's a development program on there, which people might use it for gym or swimming. So you get the levels. So you've got your swimming badge and you've got your gymnastics level one, level two, and the kids go through it. We would never have done anything like that. But because the LoveAdmin system has it, we have a discovery phase, a progression phase, a performance phase, and the kids work through the phases. And when they go up through the phase, we tick it in the box and says, yeah, well done. The parents then get an email saying, oh, Justin's now progressed from the discovery phase. He's now in the progression phase. Well done. Here's your certificate. Well done. We'll see you at the next one. So we would never have done something like that. But because LoveAdmin has got these additional capabilities, it's grown out the business and added value to the customers that way as well.
amazing. So you've used the rest other parts of the platform for your own benefit, rather than just doing the management of the football thing. That's a very, very cool thing to do. Yeah, I think that's a great idea. And the parents get something from that, don't they? Like
Yeah.
when you get a parent card coming home from the school, you know, they've done a B in their maths test and all that kind of stuff. It's that sort of stuff that communication as well, as we just talked about,
Yeah.
is that communication with parents. So
One of our philosophies in the business is care. So we have three philosophies. It's care, energy, and detail. And we try and do that in anything we do. So whether it's a business meeting, whether it's a team meeting, whether we are delivering sessions, whether it's a party, whether I'm doing a school speech, whatever it is, we try and do energy, care, and detail. And that level of care coming from us looks brilliant, but it's all automated. So, someone's received an email saying, congratulations, you've just moved up. It just shows, it puts that level of care from OTB to the parent and just shows that we're going that extra step and above and beyond.
yeah, makes you stand out from the rest, doesn't it, essentially?
Yeah, yeah. It's one of those things you'd love to do, and you think, oh, I'd love to send everybody a certificate, and you just never do it without a system. You just wouldn't be able to do it. But
No,
with this system, I wouldn't be able to manage 500 memberships and make sure everybody gets progressed into the next stage without a system. It just wouldn't be possible.
no, I agree. I think that's a very, very useful tip as well for the platform, using our platform. So thank you for sharing that. Okay, it's into the final section now. Obviously, everyone can see that you're really, really driven to making the business a success. Clearly, you've gone through different levels over the years. You've been doing it, realized where you got to the saturation point, so you needed to sort of bring other people or other processes in. Um, And obviously you've already achieved a lot of the goals that you probably have already set yourself. Excuse the pun, really, really bad. What's next, OTB? What's on the horizon?
So we would like to, now we've got all the systems in place, we would like to expand the centres. So at the moment we deliver at 2 venues, and we want to grow that to more venues over the next year or so. We want to pick up a third venue and a fourth venue and increase the offering. And then one of the biggest things I really want to get off the ground is our off the ball. So recently we rebranded to OTB Coaching, which stands for on the ball, which is what everybody knows us as on the ball, but it's also off the ball as well. So we do a lot of confidence and mindset coaching. I would like to make that part of the business because at the moment it's a bit of an add-on, so it's something that we offer. It's a bit like our birthday parties. It's something that we offer and is absolutely amazing, and it has so much potential to then grow and become a product of its own and a business of its own. So that is going to be a big part of what we do over the next year.
Gonna keep you busy then, isn't it?
I know, yeah. So it's quite fortunate that we've got a team in place now, we've got systems in place. Otherwise, yeah, it just wouldn't ever happen. It's been on my to-do list. There's some things on my to-do list that have been there for years, and they're just there, and you think one day I'll get to that, one day I'll be able to do that. But now, my to-do list is getting done. Regularly. We get through it weekly. I'm regularly emptying my to-do list, which feels amazing.
Well, when you take that month holiday, that's maybe when you might be able to get to it, I suppose, mightn't it? So,
Yeah. A
um,
month holiday, we can all dream.
oh yeah, God, yeah, that'd be amazing, wouldn't it? Okay, so literally the final sort of question from me is, for everyone listening, what is your number one do it now tip to take away from this webinar to immediately apply to their business to help recruit new players? What's number one, first thought in your head, say, right, from this, go away and do that, and that will lead to this.
Um, it's a big question, Justin. You just spring that one at the end. I think what the biggest game changer for me was self-education. So I was a great football coach. I was a great football coach, and then I started my own business. And now I've gone from being a great football coach to a business owner who has never ran a business before. And I was learning as I was going along for 12 years. And you put all the care into players, you put all the care into your team, you put all the care goes everywhere else, but not into you as a business owner.
Yeah.
So as soon as I started, picking up mentors and accessing courses and developing myself,
Mm.
things changed for me. And I always took a back seat. I was always like, oh, I can get on with it. I'll just do this. And I need to design a website. Oh, I'll just go and sort that out. Or I need to pick up meta ads. I'll learn that along the way, sort of thing.
Yeah.
But when I started, realizing there's actually a lot of value in developing and investing in yourself, things changed dramatically for me. We rebranded the business. We've gone from strength to strength. Um, yeah, so I think my biggest takeaway would be look after yourself because you are the key driver of the business. If you're not in a great state and you're just running on empty all the time and you don't have the know-how, it's like you wouldn't get somebody in who isn't a professional to come and work on your house if you needed plumbing or electricians to do. I wasn't a professional in scaling a business. I became very good at running a business, so I could run the day-to-day of the business, which has got me to a certain point. But to be able to scale a business and get bigger, I don't know how to do that. I don't know how to take it to the next level, but there are lots of people who do. And
Mm.
it's okay to invest in yourself and go and speak to those people and educate yourself.
Mm. So I suppose, and to summarize that, is almost taking yourself out of your comfort zone.
Yeah.
Football coach knew that backwards. Right, how do I scale a business? How do I introduce these other different sectors that I want to produce in and driving my costs down by going to a venue and going, look, actually, I've got so many hours a week. I actually want to double that now because you get a better rate and all that kind of stuff. You've touched on the the meta ads and all that kind of thing as well. So it's about, as you say, putting yourself out your comfort zone and going, actually, this is what I need to do. I'm going to go and find out how to do it, and then apply it to my business. So I think there's some wise words there. Definitely think that's and as you say, looking after yourself, because without you, the business might run, but would it grow?
Yeah, that's the thing. It was the scaling for me. It was, the business growth, and I needed educating on that. And as soon as I realized that and started investing, then things do change.
Yeah, no, that's it's been really insightful, Harry. I think I certainly learned a lot of the things as well, and I hope the people on the call listening in are going to take away a lot of the stuff you've said as well and apply it to them as well. So before we go on to a Q&A, just want to thank you for taking your time out of your busy day
No, you're welcome.
to join us on this. Very insightful, very inspiring as well, the things you've been saying. So I do appreciate it. So just throw it out there for any questions for Harry before we do leave. Give it a couple of seconds to see if anything comes through.
If anybody listening back to the webinar wanted to reach out with any questions, they can contact me on the socials. I'm happy for them to drop a DM, and I can reach out to them, no problem.
Amazing. That's a really kind, generous offer. Thank you. That's definitely think people need to take you up on that. So, okay, it looks like we're okay on the. Oh, here we go. From Claire, what extra apart from flyers would you add to your party bags?
Okay, so the answer is nothing. We don't do party bags. So, for what it's worth, we always thought of, oh, well, let's do this, let's put this in the party bag, and they're just more hassle than they're worth. So what we deliver is what we're good at. So we say we will come and deliver the party side. So Claire, I don't know whether you're football based or whatever your market is. So if you let's say you're a football coach, so I would say, look, we will deliver the football party for you, and then the catering is their responsibility. So, they do all the food, and they deliver the party bags and the cake, and they do all that, and we then can concentrate on what we do best. And not one person has ever asked for a party bag. No one's ever asked. We get the occasional question, do you cater? But that is just them asking, basically they're asking, do I need to do it, or will you do it for me? They're not really asking us to cater. We're a football coaching business. If they wanted their party catering, they should speak to a caterer. So we stick to what we're good at. We don't do the party bags. We don't do any of those extras. We give a certificate to everybody. So at the end of the session, we give a certificate which has got, but basically that is so we can get our website and our branding across to everybody. So everybody gets a certificate who joined in, and then the birthday player will get a trophy. But that's all got our website on the bottom. So it's a bit of a take home for them. Because if we're completely honest, the things inside party bags are a little bit naff, aren't they? They get whistles and bouncy balls and those sorts of things. I would just stick to what you're good at, Claire. Unless you're really good at party bags. I mean, unless you're in the party bag business, then no,
Okay.
you're
Yeah.
welcome, Claire.
Thank you. Yeah, and a good question. And a great answer. Like, yeah, stick to what you're good at. And if there is a request for that kind of thing, then the parent can sort them out themselves, or find someone who does that kind of thing as a business, as you say. So yeah,
One
don't go down too many lanes.
one of the things we learned the hard way was just stick to what you're good at. Be comfortable with saying no. Say, no, sorry, we don't do party bags. Whereas you're thinking, oh, I want to impress them. I want to be able to cover
Yeah.
everything. I want to let them know we're in full control, and we're a great service. And actually, if you just concentrate on what you deliver, you'll do it much better.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And I think you mentioned that at the very beginning of the discussion, wasn't it? About in your early years of like wanting to please everyone, wanting just to say yes to everything because you worry
Yeah.
about the bottom line and paying for this and paying from that.
Yeah.
Actually going, actually, no, that's not ours. That's not what we set up. That's not what we believe in, our philosophy, etc., etc. So that's a very, very key takeaway for me, even for me, not being
In,
involved in the area of business that you are.
in
Is
the early days, we did do a party bag or two. Some people would reach out and say, "Oh, do you do party bags?" And I'm thinking, "Oh, yeah, I can do some party bags," because you're trying to impress them and you're trying to come across as a great service,
mm,
you know. But I could have equally just said no, and they will sort it out themselves. Every parent sorts all the party bags themselves. It's just, yeah, something less for us to worry about and have to cater, and you have to, yeah. That's my advice. I would just stick to what we're good at and
it's brilliant
leave the
advice.
catering to them.
Yeah, no, brilliant advice. I think, yeah, definitely taken on board what you said there. So, thank you, Claire, for your question. Anyone else have a question whilst Harry's still here? Okay, Harry, again, many thanks for your time. And I hope the rest of the summer holidays goes well for you. And we'll catch up very soon.
No, it's great to speak to you, Justin. Thanks for having me.
No problem.
Thanks a lot.
Okay, bye bye.
Cheers. Bye bye.
Cheers.